Look at this map. Do you see it? It looks peaceful, right? Solid borders, empires spreading like a patchwork quilt. But underneath the surface, it was a powder keg. And the fuse, it wasn't a weapon of mass destruction. It wasn't a political treatise. It was a sandwich. One bad lunch. One wrong turn. And the entire world went to hell. Welcome to the Great War. Welcome to the war that promised to end all wars, and instead, killed a generation. It's 1914. Europe is obsessed with empires. You've got the British Empire, the German Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the Russian Empire. It's like high school, but everyone has a nuclear-level grudge. Austria-Hungary is looking at Serbia like a bully looking at a nerd. They want to crush them. But Serbia has a big brother, Russia. And Russia has an ally, France. So, when Archduke Franz Ferdinand gets shot by a Serbian nationalist in Sarajevo, boom. Austria sends an ultimatum. Serbia says no. Russia mobilizes its army. Germany says, if Russia mobilizes, we attack Russia. France says, if you attack Russia, we attack you. And then the wild card. Germany invades neutral Belgium to get to France. And Britain says, oh no, you don't. Within 6 weeks, every major power in Europe is at war. Everyone thought it would be over by Christmas. The soldiers are waving goodbye, thinking they'll be home for dinner. They had no idea they were walking into a meat grinder. This is the Western Front. A scar across France and Belgium. Over 400 miles of ditches dug into the earth. Imagine living in a ditch. In the rain. In the mud so deep that soldiers literally drowned in it. You're sleeping next to bodies. The smell of rotting flesh, cordite, and chlorine gas is your perfume. These men weren't fighting for glory, they were fighting to survive the shell shock. The constant artillery bombardment, the drum fire drove men insane. You weren't just fighting the enemy, you were fighting the rats, the lice, the frostbite, and the boredom. The terrifying silence broken by a whistle, then, chaos. Over the top. That was the order. You climb out of your muddy hole, walk toward a wall of machine gun fire, and hope the barbed wire was cut by the artillery. The Battle of the Somme. First day. The British lose 60,000 men. 60,000 in one day. For the gain of a few miles of mud. That's not war, that's industrial scale slaughter. This was the first modern war. It wasn't gentlemen on horses. It was the machine gun. The machine gun killed the romance of war. One soldier with a trigger could hold off 1,000 with rifles. Then came the gas. Chlorine, mustard gas. It didn't just kill you, it burned your lungs, blinded your eyes. It was a weapon of pure terror. And the skies. Planes were just flying machines when the war started. They used them for reconnaissance. But soon, they were dogfighting. The ace was born, the pilot who killed 5 or more enemies. Men like the Red Baron became celebrities. Why? Because the world needed heroes. The war on the ground was too ugly to glorify. We preferred to look at the sky. This wasn't just about fighting. This was about industry. Factories worked 24/7 to build shells. The war was a factory, and the soldiers were the raw materials being consumed. But this wasn't just Europe. It was a world war. Australia and New Zealand sent tens of thousands of men to Gallipoli to take on the Ottomans. They landed on the wrong beach and were slaughtered. The Middle East. The British sent a guy named T.E. Lawrence of Arabia to rally the Arabs against the Ottomans. We promised them independence. Spoiler alert, we lied. The British and French drew lines in the sand Sykes-Picot and carved up the Middle East for themselves. Iraq, Syria, Jordan. Those borders, they exist today. The chaos in the Middle East, it started here, in a colonial office in 1916. Meanwhile, Russia is collapsing. The Tsar is overthrown in a revolution. Lenin takes power, and he signs a peace treaty with Germany. The Eastern Front is done. And then the cavalry arrives. The Americans. In 1917, the US joins the war. Fresh troops. New energy. It's the turning point. November 11, 1918. 11 a.m. The guns fall silent. 20 million dead. 21 million wounded. An entire generation of young men, gone. The war broke empires. The Ottomans, the Austro-Hungarians, the Germans, the Russians, all gone. 4 dynasties, destroyed. New countries were born. But they were brittle. Carved out of hate and nationalism. Germany was humiliated. Forced to pay reparations that crippled its economy. They called it the stab in the back, the myth that they didn't lose the war, they were betrayed. It was a lie. A dangerous lie that gave rise to a dangerous man, Adolf Hitler. World War I wasn't called the Great War because it was great. It was called that because it was the biggest thing humanity had ever done to itself. It was a war that stopped being about kings and treaties, and became about the machine versus the man. When we look at the world today, the tensions, the alliances, the nationalism, I can't help but look back at 1914. And I wonder, are we still asleep at the wheel? Are we still one bad sandwich away from disaster? That's the lesson from the mud. Don't let the machines win. Don't let the empires divide us. History isn't just the past. It's a warning. I'm Atta. This is the world. We'll see you in the next one.